Okay, today is March 15, 2015. Hope everybody is enjoying the weekend and getting ready to resume trading tomorrow. Let's take a look at the market first. Right now, I got the S&P 500 on the screen here. And we're basically looking at the weekly chart, and you can see that it's still trending within this price channel that was established using the low, the October 2011 low. And you can see that been trending, near the upper bound of this channel for quite frequently now. So whenever we touch that upper trend line, we seem to get a little bit of a pullback. And the most dramatic one was back in September, and then we got some on December and then January. So right now, we see this little pattern here. If I zoom in on this thing, and we could, let me see, if I could get that zoom in. You can see this little NR7 type of a doji candle here, right? A little spinning top candle. It's also, you can see this like uh, you know, a bit of an evening star type of candle pattern. So when we saw this particular candle being formed, and then we kind of watch this little price action, it's kind of give us a little heads up that something is changing, right, from this particular trend here. Right, so we got to be a little bit cautious and start, looking for potential pullback, and that's basically what we did. And also the other thing is we're seeing some kind of divergence and non-confirmation on the Dow making new high and that kind of stuff, and also the market breadth is getting weaker. So all those things kind of tell us to, hey, be a little bit careful, right? All is not good, So basically, we kind of took a little step back and be a little bit cautious and got into a defensive mode. Okay, so let's take a look at on the daily basis here, and we zoom this back out. So we kind of see that, right now we're still looking at this particular trend line here. Let's do it on a closing basis, okay, using the close. So you can see that it's sort of holding this trend line here, right? Kind of dip down a little bit, but bounce right back. So it's holding that trend line, even if we're looking at the using the intraday low. Still, we're basically holding support on this trend line. Initially, when it started coming down, we're looking at this. The first level of support is basically this pivot high. Okay, if you look at it here, this right here is a little bit of a head and shoulder pattern, if you can see this. So let's drill this down to 78-minute, and we'll take a look at the 78-minute chart here. You can see a little bit more clear on this head and shoulder pattern. All right, here's the left shoulder, here's this big round head, and then here's the right shoulder. All right, so we got this little breakdown here. Okay, and then if we do a little bit of a major move to see, how much did it go down on this based on this projection, and we're saying that maybe get down to that 2061 on 100%, right? And the 78.6 is somewhere around 26, 2067, 2068, right? So we got a little bounce off of here, but those are just projection. But you can see that there was a little pattern here also developing, on that kind of tell us that got a little bit of a headwind coming to, right? And so we were kind of making fun of this, these type of stuff on Twitter, saying the rain is coming, so it's kind of raining, and we got to be careful, get a raincoat out, and take our umbrella. So basically, we saw this kind of got a little prepared for this move down here. So now what is going to happen now? Is I think that's the key question, the $64,000 question that we want to answer. Okay, so let me take this out. Okay, so it broke into this level here, and then the next level of support, we're looking at this level, and it seems like there's a little bit of a bounce, but it was kind of short-lived, and then we got this big flush day, and it came down here, and what I was saying that essentially we're looking at this particular pivot low, right, somewhere around this 2040, you know, so, and it's kind of came down and bounced off of that, even though it closed just a little bit off from that level, on this particular day. But then we got this bounce on Thursday, and then on Friday we got this funny business, right, with OPEX. You never know how realistic is this price action. But in any case, right, so right now it seems to be holding this support and this inflection point here. Okay, there seems to be some confluence between this particular support, the trend line support, And then also the other thing is if we do a little bit of a Fibonacci retracement, okay, and we could also see that it is coming close to this 38.2 retracement, right? So there's some confluence here, okay? So it's inside this retracement zone. So I think the next week is we want to see can it take, reclaim this level, these pivot level here. If it could reclaim these level, get above this, then the chances are we might come back and retest this particular pivot high. And once you get back above that, there's a good chance we're going to come up and put in a new high. Okay, so but if it break below this 38.2, and then we'll probably be looking at these level here, this range over here for potential next level of support. So we'll be down at this 1980 area. Right, so let me, so it'll be in 1980, 82 somewhere, right, 1990, 1980. Okay, so those are the, some of the price level to keep an eye on the S&P next week. And just take a quick look at the Dow Jones. And again, let's take a look at the let's go back on the monthly basis there. We see that the Dow Jones actually got two sort of price channel going. We could say, there's one big one here on the 09, right? Okay. And then we got this one here, using this particular, the October, time frame, similarly to the S&P 500. So probably just kind of looking at this one here for now. Okay, so let me take that off, okay, so it doesn't kind of cloud the picture here. Okay, and then if we take a look at on a weekly, okay, again, we see a little bit of a doji spinning top type of doji, right? Okay, right up here. So it's kind of give us a little heads up. And in addition to that, if we go and take a look at on the daily, uh, remember we were talking about this February 25th high, this all-time high. And I've kind of put a post on to say be careful, right? Because we got a non-confirmed high here. The Dow Jones Transportation did not confirm that. The S&P 500 did not confirm that. Then a few days later, we got this big, up candle and put in another new all-time high. But this time around, the Russell, the S&P 500 confirmed it, and also the Nasdaq put in a multi-year high. But again, the Dow Jones Transportation did not. So there is, a sign of a little bit of a weakness here. Okay, just still be a little bit cautionary, even though the market might be getting a bounce. But we have to see how the transportation react to that. Okay, so again, looking on the daily here, we see some, level of support. And if I'm using the closing basis, right, so kind of get close to that, and also here's the intraday using the intraday low, right? So again, we're looking for this particular pivot as the initial support, and doesn't seem to found much on that. When it get down to that level, then we're basically looking at these area for potential support, and sort of got there, but not much. Okay, but right now it seems like it's might be maybe testing support down here. So also if we take a look at the fib, so it's kind of getting in that 50% retracement area. Inside this retracement zone again, we got the support trend line here. So if we could hold above this trend line and get back above the 618, there's a good chance that we might come back up and retest this level here. And if we take out this December pivot high, then then we'll probably be looking at it to make another run at an all-time high. But if we break that 38.2, then we are basically looking at for to come back down and possibly test these level here, this level here for support, right? Somewhere around this 17,024, somewhere around there, somewhere around 17,000. Okay, so that's the Dow Jones. So press the wrong button, and let's look at the Nasdaq. I got an interesting thing on the Nasdaq here. Let's go and look at the monthly. Okay, all right, okay. So let me zoom this in. You see this monthly chart here, right? I got this arc I drew in here. certainly it looked very parabolic, right? And here's the dot-com bubble high, right, back in March of 2000. And that high is 4,816.35. Right? Right? So you can see that, ever since it, popped that bubble and came down, it's been sitting, down here and, away from this point for almost 15 years, right? Okay. So the thing is, I see this as a magnet, right? Because this thing came too far and getting too close that the market just going to back off on that. My view on this thing is that it's going to suck this index up and tag it into the record book, okay, at least put in a new high. It will take out this high. Okay, when will it do that? Have no idea. So I don't think it's a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Okay, so let's take a look, right? Because also the other thing is if we put in, ever since it broke out of this particular level here, right? Okay, you could see it got a little bit of a shake and bake, and then once it break out, it's just kind of entering into this high, parabolic move, right? And it's move up. So also the other thing is if we do a little bit of a Fibonacci retracement using these, two pivot point, and here's this 261, okay, extension, and it's still a little bit below that 4,800 level, right? We're still talking about maybe somewhere around the 46.37. So the chances are, I think it's just going to go and blow through that level, okay? So, and let's take a look at on a little bit of a closer time frame here, okay? Again, we see that little bit of a, doji type of candle, right? And kind of give us a heads up on something is changing here. Right? And then the following week, we got a little bit of a down candle. So you can see there's a little bit of a pullback. It shouldn't be surprising, right? And then also seeing on the daily, okay, so let's zoom this out a little bit. And let's take a look at the daily. So again, just looking at these trend line using the closing basis, right? Basically, I'm just connecting the close to the close, and then also using the intraday low. So we could also look at that because there are people join these lines differently. Okay, so you can see that it came down, tried to hold this level here, but it did not. But in matter of fact, once you broke it, it tried to come back and test it, try to reclaim it over here. Okay, so right now it came down and basically testing this particular pivot high here. Okay, uh, so it seems to have a little bit of a confluence here with this supporting trend line. And then the other thing is we also put up the Fibonacci retracement. We can see there's a 50% retracement right here as well. So we could see some sort of a bounce. And in addition to that, if you notice that the Friday's candle, let me take out these trend line here. Okay, this Friday candle here is a outside day, right? It's like what we call outside candle. Okay, so instead of an inside candle, that we have this big engulfing candle, setting up a coil inside it, right? Is that we have this outside candle taking out previous, day's range. And so right now we're basically looking for the break of the price, which end of this candle is going to break will give us a little clue of where, what is the directional move in the near term. Okay, so we essentially are going to watch this, these levels here in the next week to see where the price will break. Is it going to break out on a, break out on the high or break down on the low? If it break out on the high, then we'll probably come up, fill this gap, and then we'll be on its way to try to make it up here to retest the previous high. But if it break out on the low, then we'll probably be heading back down here and possibly we come down and retest this particular level here somewhere around the 40 88 40 90 area. Okay, and also got a little confluence with this 200-day moving average as well. Right, and then on the Russell 2000, the Russell 2000 been an outperformer this year. Remember last year it's been a the weakling, right? It's always underperformed. We're kind of wondering when the heck it's going to, come up and catch us up with the other indexes, right? Also, the other thing is, let me go back and do the monthly. I also kind of play around with this arc and then see is there a parabolic type of move here. You could make a case that it is getting a little bit of a parabolic right up here now, but it's still, trending within this linear channel, price channel here. So it's not as apparent as the NASDAQ 100 in terms of the parabolic type of move. Okay, so so let's take a look at, go back and look at the weekly. And again, we saw it, kind of broken out here and get into a new all-time high, then kind of pull back. And right now it's still sitting above the all-time high. Okay, so definitely, the Russell been kind of holding up pretty nicely. I'm kind of surprised that I was able to, go and play some TCA, So, you know, but basically, the ultra short of the small cap, and with the Russell is kind of, holding up. So, so that's kind of tell you, I mean, in any kind of market condition, depending how you trade, I mean, there's way to make money, right? So, and then we go and take a look at the daily. Okay, and here on the daily, you can see this pullback here. Oh, that's when I, traded the TCA. So maybe that's the reason why I make money. I don't know. But anyway, but kind of bounced back up nicely ever since on the, the beginning of the week. Like on, this is Tuesday here. Okay. So it came down and sort of, bounce off of this particular trend line here, this supporting level here. Remember this breakout level to get into an all-time, a new all-time high. Okay, so right now it's kind of bouncing back up nicely. And last Friday when it was down here, the candle, the price was down here. Remember, it was down. There was a, on Twitter, I said, hey, if it closed where it's at right now, that is not a good candle formation. Okay, we have to be really cautious there because that's basically give us a tweezer top. It's just like one on top, one next to each other. You got a green candle and then a red candle and right next to it. And then when you add them up, it's basically you're getting a shooting star doji, right? And that's pretty negative on a near the top of the price move. Okay, but fortunately it came back up, although it gave a little bit of a hangman, but it's still better than getting a combination of a doji, right? Or a shooting star doji type of thing. So right now, kind of see would it be able to continue to move up, and depending on the FOMC meeting, the outcome of that next week. I believe based on looking at the price action, I would not be surprised to see the Russell put in a new high next week, unless we just, the market just took a big flush and take it down. And if it does, then we'll probably be looking at these level down here, right? Okay, so we might be looking at, somewhere around this, 13, 36, 1335, because right now looking at the Fibonacci retracement. Okay, and here we kind of came down to 618 and kind of got bounced off the 618. Okay, and remember I said that 1300 going to be a magnet, right? Look at the the price channel. Basically, if I extend this out, that's pretty close to near that 1300, and also you got that 161 off this Fibonacci retracement, going to 161 extension that brings you up to 1300. Okay. So keep an eye on that, right? Certainly, I don't think the world is coming to an end or the market is crashing. Maybe it's pulling back, but you got a lot of people calling the top here. So, but anyway, so here's also the trend line here on the closing basis. You could see there's a little bit of a confluence here as well with this particular trend line as well as with the fib 618. Okay. So let's take a look at the stock, and one of our favorite is Apple. Okay, so Apple is on a pullback, and we sort of kind of alluded to that when we saw this candle formation, right? Because I was been talking about the possible evening star here, and we got this little pullback. But let's take a look at on the weekly here and see what else is going on before we drill down on the daily. So you can see this weekly candle is not the ideal type of a candle, bullish candle, right near the top here. Right, so you can see a little bit of a pullback, and a lot of people basically eyeing this level somewhere around this 119, 120 area. Okay, and so right now we're basically looking at a potential bull flag. Right, so if it could So let's say you get back up above this 127, 30, 127.50 or something like that, breaking out of this bull flag, then we could easily see, Apple come back up and retest their recent high. And here's you know, the, uh, the major move for Apple's bull flag. And, at the 78.6, be 143, and if it's 100% major move, be 149. But then also the other thing is, let's take a look at the FIP retracement here. And if I use this right here, this FIP here, you can see that it came down to the 618, right? And the 50% level is that 119, near this 119 area. Okay, so it could come back down, maybe do a little bit more shaking down here at this 50% level before it come back up and break this flag. Okay, then it probably bring it up on a major move, maybe to the 78%. Then it's probably get up to this 145 area. But right now you can see there's a little confluence here near this 150 level between the Fibonacci retracement and the extension, right? Okay, on the major move for this bull flag. So that's something to keep an eye on. Apple. Don't believe Apple is headed down yet or being sold off completely. Maybe that day will come, but certainly that day will come. Right? It's just a matter of when, but it doesn't appear to be here yet. So we'll see, right? Anything is possible. So let's go and take a look at Facebook. Facebook is another interesting one, right? We've been watching that also, right? And we take a look on the weekly. We're seeing this trend line here, still kind of hugging this trend line on the up, the uptrend here, okay? And try to take out this high. Seems like it's kind of consolidating into a little bit of a band, a trading band here. And some might want to call that as a flag, but whatever. Basically want to take a look at here. You see there's a little bit of a doji, right? And I kind of wanted people to say, hey, pay attention to this candle, and we need to look at confirmation. I said, the following day we get a gap down, that's no good, right? And essentially that's what we got. And then I was looking at this candle and was telling people that, hey, if this candle closes where it is, that is not a good sign for Facebook. Then at I think in the afternoon, early afternoon or so, it actually moved positive. And I said, hey, if we could stay above positive, then it will avoid this potential evening star type of pattern. Then we all good, right? Unfortunately, it did not hold, so it wasn't good. And I closed my position on Facebook on that when it pulled back and dipped back to negative. Okay, so right now, Facebook seems to be holding on here. I mean, again, it seems to have some confluence here. We still got this trend line coming up, right, near this Fibonacci retracement zone here, somewhere around this 50% level and between the 50 and 382. Okay, then also we got these, this particular support level, right? This is the previous breakout pivot point. Okay, so and right now it seems like there's a potential for it to bounce back up and try to retest or even take out the previous high. Okay, because look at this, we have a outside candle here last Friday, and again, on these candles, just like the engulfing candle that we looked at, the inside bars type of stuff, depending on what direction the price will break, if it's going to break down on this candle's low, then it probably will dip down to this 38.2, and it might even possibly come back down to this level here to retest for potential support, right? Or if it break above this high, then the chances are we might come back up and try to take out this high here. Okay, so just keep an eye on these level here, the high low of last Friday's candle. That might give us a clue of where the near-term price move might be. Okay, so, but again, I mean, there's nothing to write home about to tell people about Facebook might be crashing and that kind of stuff. It might, but hey, certainly it doesn't look like it this way right now. So, but you never know, right? Anything is possible. That's what I always say. Okay, here's Twitter. All right, so let's take a look at Twitter again. Twitter seems to be forming a little bit of a flag also. Okay, and then we got a major move that essentially, if it come up to this near this 80%, it will take out the previous high. Okay, so that's another thing. And the other thing is, we're basically still monitoring this particular level here, right? Because this is the, this pivot high here. Okay, you need to hold this level. If it's not, then you need to come back and hold this level. If this gap gets filled, then the chances are we probably could come back down to retest this particular level here. Because when we go to the weekly chart here, because we can see this is a, pretty kind of strong level here, I would say, in terms of support and resistance. Seems to be a lot of price action around that, in that vicinity. So we kind of have to keep an eye on that. Because also the other thing is, we're still kind of holding down on this, this trend here, right? So we kind of be careful on that. Yeah. So it's all depends how you draw this line, right? Oh, so you might be getting some, resistance here at this level. Okay, so we kind of have to keep an eye on that when it get up to try to take out this pivot high before it make its way up to this pivot, then to this high. Okay, so we're trying to keep an eye on that. What's the next one? Okay, we haven't talked about Google for a while. Okay, let's take a look at Google. Right? Google again, broke out of this, this baseline here. Originally, we're looking at this, this baseline here. So it kind of broke out and came back down. We tested, a little bit shake and bake, and then went back up, and then broke through and took out this pivot high, and then it came up and found some resistance up in this area here, near this, this pivot level here. Okay, so it's coming back down, and it seems like it might retest this support level. Okay, but again, we're still running on this trend line here. So as long as it hold above this trend line, also in confluence with this particular support line, probably Google probably be okay. And also again, if we take a look at the Fibonacci retracement, here's the 618. Okay, so there's still a little bit of a downside, but again, it's all depend, what the level that you want to take a look at on these fit retracement, because different people have different time frame, right? If you look at this particular swing, then it's essentially sitting somewhere around this 50%. Okay, so it's all depend on what time frame different FIP trader uses, because they're different time frame basically, right? Just because we use FIP doesn't mean that everybody use it the same way. Okay, so that's why in technical analysis, one of the key thing is no matter what your setup is, what your trigger is, what pattern that you're trading off, it's always good to look at other people, some other technique that other people might be focusing on, to basically look for confluence, right? The more eyes on the same level, or the same inflection point, then the higher the probability something's going to happen there. Okay, so that's why even though I don't trade off moving average, there are people do, right? So I look at moving average and see is it close to some moving average of confluence with some support level, or some Fibonacci level, those sort of thing. Okay, then in combination with whatever pattern that I'm looking at, or setup that I'm looking at, to see does it all lined up. If they all line up, then you have a better chance that this trade gonna move in the direction that I think it's gonna move, right? Okay, so that's the reason why we look at all these things. It's not because I look at these things because I trade off of all these things. I can't possibly trading off of all these things. That'd be ridiculous for anybody try to trade off of all these things, because then you don't know what the heck you're gonna trade off of. Right? It's just like taking any kind of trade, right? So anyway, so much for the babbling. All right, let's take a look at Amazon. Okay, so again on Amazon, let's go back on looking at the weekly. Okay, let's get on the weekly, and we could see that. Remember, we were talking about this descending triangle, right? And then breaking out of this descending triangle, and it broke out of this based on the earning gap. So unless you chase it, you can't possibly play that gap unless those one of those type that trade to earning, which I don't. Okay, so I haven't been trading Amazon, honestly. Okay, so because I'm not going to chase these type of move. Okay, and there are people that does very well, do very well by chasing these moves. I mean, more power to them. But that's not my style. Okay, so but we take a look at it anyway, right? So you see that it came up, and we're talking about filling out this gap here, which it did, and then found some resistance, right? Once after it filled, came up and took out this gap. Then now it's kind of retracing back, and it seems like maybe it found a little bit of a support here, right, from this pivot. Okay, so let me zoom this in. Okay, so maybe we get a bounce, right? Then let's see if it can hold that. Then maybe it will drop back down to this particular pivot, and essentially also where the price gap low is, right? So if it can hold this particular support line, then maybe it will come down and test that. Okay. Then the other thing is if we take a look at the fit retracement, it could come down to this 618 or even the 50% level, which is coincide or close to this particular gap level here, right? Okay, so that's one possibility. But then again, we're talking about, different trader have different time frame. They may use different inflection point, right? So you can see that at a 50% point, it also could get down to near this gap level, right? And then if people that's playing a little bit more of a shorter swing, they could be looking at this. Then here is a 50% level, and there might be possibility that it could bounce off this support here, right? Because it's in confluence with this 50% retracement. So it could bounce back up and take out this or come up and retest this particular pivot high. So that's one possibility as well. Okay. So let's see. Okay, let's take a look at Netflix. We haven't talked about Netflix also. Okay, Netflix also got this big gap on the earning, right? Okay, so let's go and take a look at it on a weekly basis here and see what that looked like. And it looked like there's a potential of a double top, okay, or a potential of a consolidation level here on this trading band. And right now, you're looking at the weekly pattern. There's a little bit of a bearish type of pattern here, right? Again, it looked a little bit like a evening star, right? A little bit of an evening star type of pattern. So we could possibly see maybe it retrace back down to here. That's a possibility, okay? And if it break this trend line, I mean, the supporting trend line, then that's a big problem for Netflix, right? So if we just do a little bit of a major move, right, let's say go down here, and you can see this 100% is basically down here at this particular level, right? Somewhere around this 120 something, right? Oops, say here, all right, this 124, 125, okay? And even at this near the 80% level, major move, it will be somewhere around this 164, 160 area. Okay? So something to bear in mind, right? And let's go to look at on a daily basis and see what else might happen. Okay? So again, there's a chance that could come down and test this particular gap level, right? This price gap. This is the earning price gap. Right, these are the level that we're going to be watch out for. And this is pivot, right? So these are some of the near-term support level. Okay. So, and take a look at the Fibonacci retracement. Let's take a look at the big swing. Okay, here's the 50% level here on this one. Okay, all right. So you can see this 401, 402, so near this 400 level. 618 sitting at 421, 422, so it could come down here and get a little bit bounce, right? Then if we, move this up a little bit, then it's right now sitting at 382, so we could also see a little bit of a bounce. But if it doesn't bounce, right, if we do this, remember we talked about the H pattern breakdown, right? Okay, if we come up, so if it come back up a little bit, okay, let's say it moved back up here and then break down, then we could see it come down to this 161, which is right near this inflection point, I mean this gap low here, right? Okay, so we're essentially getting this H pattern breakdown. Okay, so that's another thing that we want to keep in mind. Okay, so we want to make sure that it doesn't get a little bit of a H pattern developing here, we could see a little bit here, but I'd really like to see it get back up to that 618 or get into that 50%, essentially getting up to this particular area before it turn back down and then break this, this pivot low here. Okay, then the downside will be, probably will take it down to this 161. Okay, so that's Netflix. And last but not least, let's take a look at Tesla. Yeah, Tesla been a dog, right? Okay, so let's take a look at on a weekly. Right? Okay, here on the weekly, here's what we're looking at. Right? Right? Potential head and shoulder pattern. Not a good thing, right? But of course, it could be a good thing because it's so damn obvious too. I hope it's obvious. Right? So you can see that here's that one, somewhere around 180. That's the baseline, the neckline for this head and shoulder. So if it break below 180, then this thing could go. Right? So how far it's going to go? Let's take a look. Right? So in the 100%, it's basically like maybe 70. Okay, 80% somewhere around 93. Okay, and even a 618, we'll probably get to that 110, 111. So it seems like there might be, some possibility of getting down to this level here, right? Okay, and then again, if we look at in terms of the H pattern breakdown, right? Let's say we go this way here. Okay, so you look at here right now, it's coming up, tag the 618, and then start breaking down, reversing back. So if we break to this 185, we could easily see this 161 retracement extension here, down here at this 120. Okay, so that's basically what we're looking at for Tesla. Okay, so unless it could get a little bit bounce and take out this pivot high here, okay, this 224, 225 level, and then take it back, take it back up, then it's going to be a little dicey here for Tesla long, okay, because it's still got this little trend line here. So essentially, you got to take out this trend line, right, and then put in a higher high, okay. So didn't mean to finish it off on a negative note, but that's it. And good luck to you on your trading for next week.